Hey guys, Matt here, and I am currently down in the Texas Hill Country of all places. I am doing a kind of tour of family as I'm going back to California. So the last episode ended up with me in Moab, and Jen drove out from Southern California to grab me and then drove me back to Southern California. That ended up making more sense than trying to get back to my parents, just because that was going to be like a 16-hour bus ride. That did mean I ended up back in Southern California basically just with my trail clothes. So I spent about a week and a half until I could get a flight back to Colorado, sitting around in the exact same stuff I'd been sleeping and wearing on the trail this entire time. But it worked out. Then I flew back to Colorado. I grabbed everything, threw it all in the Jeep, went north to Fort Collins to visit one grandfather, went south down to Fredericksburg, Texas to visit my other grandparents, and now I am headed back. I was born in San Antonio, lived here until I was 8, and I have family all around, so I come out this way relatively often. Well, I was bummed to come off trail when I did. It is what it is, so I've just been trying to take best advantage of the time. So as soon as I got back into town, I ran into a dentist to get the dental stuff that happened checked. The word on that was everything looks fine. My teeth have shifted a little bit, and as the teeth shifted, my bite was hitting. And as a result, I was getting soreness that radiated up. So I really liked my dentist back in Orange County. I chatted with him on what the danger signs were, what I should be looking for. And he actually recommended me bringing erythromycin with me in case a similar incident to this year happens again, just so I can recognize that, oh yeah, this is an infection, and try and treat it. This is getting more important because of the stuff we're planning in the near future. And then, of course, I had the big issue, which was my feet. Now, I have been to a podiatrist before, and I did not have the best luck. However, obviously, something was serious, something that I couldn't really just kind of rehab on the move, and I want to get back to active as quickly as I can. So Jen found me a podiatrist that was on her insurance, got me in, and I had my first appointment literally the morning before I flew back out to Colorado. So per the doctor, my left foot is plantar fasciitis. It is not on the actual arch like I had before. It's more around the heel. That's actually good. That's something that you can usually rehab. I have had it before, and I have had it bad. When I turned 30, I was doing a lot more activity really suddenly. Had it so bad, I would wake up, my foot would be cocked over, and I couldn't straighten it for, 15 minutes every morning. The right foot, where it's on the pad ball of the foot, that one she's called pre-stress fracture. That one, I guess I'm a little more worried about. That seems like it's more mechanical. That is the part of the foot that gets the most force with how I walk. She is recommending some inserts. I am going to go down that path and try it. We are just currently trying to figure out what the evil gods of U.S. health insurance will allow and what I have to pay out of pocket. For now, I have a series of stretches. I do the runner stretch all the time. If you've met me on trail, I'm usually bending forward doing the runner stretch on my hiking poles, just because my calves tend to be kind of tight no matter what when I do activity. The one that has provided the most relief that I wish I had known about ahead of time was being on the edge of a step and dropping my heel down. That one actually has provided the most relief as far as my left foot. She also wanted me to take my left foot and kind of crunch the toes up against a wall and stretch into it. So I've been doing those, and I have a roller to kind of roll out the bottom of my foot. As soon as I get back into town, I have my follow-up visit, and that's where we're going to talk inserts and all the things like that. The good news is I have time at the moment because it is the off season. I am reluctant to try and mess around too much when I'm on the move, partially because I'm in the middle of nowhere. If I make a bad choice, I'm stuck with it for a while. So right now, I will not be on trail again until April 1st. I've got some other stuff going on, but that's the next big through hike. So I have some time to try these inserts and try and do some longer local stuff and see how it works. I have gotten a lot of advice, and I do appreciate the advice. However, one thing to keep in mind, shoes are very, very particular. I tell this to everybody in the wilderness class every year. What'll work for Jen won't work for me, vice versa. We all have very differently sized feet, and unfortunately, the shoe industry is trying to sell us all, one size fits most. I have big feet. I wear size 14 wide. And some of the things that claim they're wide, like Hoka's, let me tell you, they are not wide. Brooks Cascadia, they ain't wide. So there's only a couple of brands I can use. And the shoes I was using, I was pretty much relatively, pain-free, other than when I would wear them out, for 3,000 miles. The complications that I'm having happened when I got to Canyon City, when I got to like Colorado Springs and I was sick for a week. Don't know what triggered it, but I got 3,000 miles off of it. Most people, if you say, hey, use these shoes, you can hike 3,000 miles before you have any sort of complication. I know a lot of people that would, take those shoes instantly. So we'll see. I'm always experimenting and trying new ones, but at least for the moment, I have been relatively happy with those New Balance Heroes I've been using, other than I wish the foam lasted a little longer, because after about 350 miles, they are realistically about done. I did get 700 miles out of that one pair, but that was pretty painful. Every little rock on the trail I could feel. So because I had to exit the trail early, obviously we kind of had to change plans. Jen had planned to drive out on Thanksgiving. Wherever I was, we were figuring somewhere in Nevada, pick me up, and then we were going to do an Airbnb cabin down in Arizona. That was where it was affordable on kind of the corridor home. Since I came off early, we changed that all around. We were in a week and a half long rental back in Southern California, and we were looking for what could we do for Thanksgiving. Well, I'm pretty limited because of the feet, so we did the only logical thing, and we managed to find a way to go diving, because that is one of the big activities I miss when I'm on trail. As soon as I get back, I am driving from Texas back to California. I should be there Thursday morning. I have a foot doctor appointment Thursday morning, and then Friday night, we go up to Los Angeles, and we are getting on an airplane, and we are going to go down and spend the Thanksgiving week Jen has off school in Bonaire. Bonaire is an island off the coast of Venezuela. It is known as kind of a shore scuba diving mecca. It's one of those places I've heard about, but we hadn't been able to go, and we were able to find plane tickets and everything to make that work. Super excited, and also that is going to let me kind of practice making dive videos again, because at the end of December, that is our big annual scuba trip where we're going to be going to Raja Ampat out in Indonesia, which Jen is super excited for, and I am consistently frustrated by the fact I can't do scuba diving videos as well as I would like. So we have Bonaire, and then we have Raja Ampat. Then I am back in Southern California for a couple of months doing the wilderness class. And right now, as of April 2nd, the wilderness class will be wrapped up and I will be free to get back on trail. Now, I'm not going to go right back to the American Discovery Trail. Reason being, in spring, there is still snow in the Sierra and other mountains. There are some mountain ranges in Utah and Nevada. So I am currently looking at potentially doing a walk across New Mexico, Arizona, the Mogollon Rim Trail by the same guy, Brett Tucker, that did the Grand Enchantment Trail. That looks really promising. So I may do that for April and May. Once June rolls around, that is when Jen and I are doing our big trip of next summer, which is the Yukon. We're going to be in a canoe, and we're going to be 2,000 miles across Alaska all the way out to the ocean, kind of similar to the Mississippi trip we did a couple of years ago. We are really excited for that one. That one is going to be way more remote, and we like remote, so that should be fun. And we even have this new Starlink antenna that we're going to bring, so I'm hoping that we can do daily videos, even though we'll probably be out of cell phone contact for most of it. After that, of course, Jen goes back to school in early August, and then I will basically go back to my parents, jump off the paddle gear, and then I will head off to Moab, and I will continue the American Discovery Trail. Going via the Red Line, there is 1,300 miles left. I intend to do that the entire way, finish up in San Francisco. I should have plenty of time. We'll see what goes wrong next year, and if I have extra time, I may try and fit something else in. I'm not quite sure what yet, though. So that'll take us through the end of next summer. We will probably try and do some sort of a diving trip over Christmas, but we have to see what we can afford and what would work out. That's the biggest time Jen has off school other than summer, so we try and do something. And then we are already starting to plan for 2026. As of right now, I was originally talking about doing the North Country Trail. I kind of want to space that out from the ADT because there's a lot of overlap and it's similar in some ways. So I think we're going to move the North Country Trail to 2027, and we're going to try and do some through hikes over in Europe in 2026. Right now, this is all very tentative. We're looking at options. I'm going to be free from April until November-ish, so we're thinking I fly over to Europe early. I may do the Wales coastal path. That looks really cool. I have some recommendations that say that should be right up my alley. Then when Jen gets off school, she'll fly out to Europe and join me. And at the moment, the front runner is the Hexatrek, that newish trail in France that goes like along the eastern side and then west. So that would be most of the summer, but it looks like it's doable for Jen and me together. And then I would have time after she goes back to school. I'm not sure what I'm going to do. It's possible I might fly back, stop in Newfoundland and do the rest of the IAT there that I wasn't able to do. Or I may try and do something else out in Europe. It just kind of depends, but that's kind of what we're thinking. And then at least at the moment, that would make 2027 the year that we do the North Country Trail, 4,000 miles, northeast corner of the United States. It's another one of those big ones I'm all excited for. The other thing that we're trying to mix into some of our activities, we like being out, we like being on the move, we like getting exercise. I finally bought that touring bike, or I am buying that touring bike that I had talked about. I found a green one that friends spoke well of, so I am going to be hitting that pretty hard for the next couple of months, just trying to make sure mechanically it works, because I've had challenges with my knee and I never really found a seat that worked well since I got back into it. Back in 2005, 2006, I did about 12 and a half bike centuries in 6 months. Got an overuse injury and I haven't been back to it. So the goal is we want to get Jen and I both set up with touring bikes, and then for things like Thanksgiving, we would have kind of a cheaper option of just going across a state or two, because you can cover a lot more distance cycling. Honestly, like all those little town stays that we enjoyed so much in Kansas, our thought was, hey, this would be nicer on a bike, so we want to be set up to have that as an option. We were even debating, did we want to go bike across Europe instead of hike across Europe? But at least for the moment, we're planning on doing, more of a wildernessy through hike of our normal style. So that is pretty much a wrap as far as the ADT videos for this year. I do have some notes and things that I want to capture somehow as far as like what states were harder, easier, and things like that. Overall, going Delaware to Moab, I really enjoyed this. It is not something I would necessarily want to do again, but I'm happy I did it. I really enjoyed meeting everybody along the way and just walking through DC, walking through all the cities, finding out about all these rail trails and things everywhere. It was rough, but Jen and I are never going to forget Kansas. In addition to random corn jokes, just the craziness when it got so hot and we were sleeping for 3 hours in the middle of the night, and then hiking in the dark, and then hiking in the middle of the night, going in and out of Dodge. I think we were in town from like 12:30 until 3 in the morning. It was crazy, but it was memorable. I don't think I'm ever getting Jen back into Kansas though. So video-wise, like I said, this will be the end of the actual ADT kind of daily series until I get back on trail at the end of next summer. I will have some standalone videos. There's a couple of trail topics like how I handle rain gear and things like that I'd kind of like to get into. I might do a better job of capturing what's in my pack. We will have daily videos similar to the hiking videos for the Bonaire trip. Those will probably start in 2 weeks or so. It will probably be hard to do them when I'm out there, but once I'm here, they'll start coming up. And then for the Raja Ampat trip, those don't tend to be quite as popular as our hiking videos, but we make these for us so we have something to look back on, and Jen really likes watching those. Every now and then I catch her watching the clownfish on the Komodo trip. So while I have really been struggling while being injured and being off trail, I hate coming back into civilization. Struggles and all, I am at my happiest, for whatever that's worth, when I am out on some butt kicker long thing and it feels like I've been out there forever and I've got forever ahead of me. But, is what it is. I'm trying to concentrate on getting stuff done, and obviously Jen and I are really happy being back together. And because I know I'm going to get yelled at for not having Blondie talk, here is 3 minutes fully of Blondie talking, catching everybody up, telling jokes. She has a whole stand-up set she's been working on. Hasn't changed.